that basically he's in danger of getting removed from this classified documents case in Florida for Donald Trump, right? Now, critics are coming out of the woodworks and they're basically saying, now these are critics of Donald Trump. They believe that the judge in this case is biased. And while Judge Eileen Cannon has ruled both ways in this case, the belief from the left-leaning news outlets is that she's doing all of this to try to help former president out. Now, why would she want to help out Donald Trump? Well, basically in doing so, or in helping out Donald Trump, these critics are saying that she's ensuring that she has a seat in the Supreme Court. So I can understand the logic here, but here's something that other people have suggested. What if the Judge Cannon, is just simply doing her job, right? I mean, I guess that's too far-fetched. There's no way Judge Cannon could possibly be doing her job and not just providing favors to Donald Trump. Not those kind of favors, guys, but you know what I'm saying. And with Judge Cannon going through the proper procedures, the proper process, it's got a lot of Democrats raging, and they're upset that it's possible that Trump may actually get a chance at a just and fair trial. Now, again, some Democrats, they're actually fans of Donald Trump, and they look at Donald Trump differently. Some Democrats are like, you know what? I'm not a fan of Republicans, but Trump is different. They're seeing the injustice that he's dealing with, and they're like, hey, this guy, he's different. He's different. So I don't know. I think some people are kind of putting Trump in maybe like an independent category. I don't know what some folks were thinking, but it's just really interesting to see how many non-Republicans are seeing the corruption and the biasness. Biasness, is that a word? Bear with me, guys. They're seeing the bias that Trump is dealing with, and they're like, yo, this is just not cool no matter who you are. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. Totally appreciate you guys. Brandon Bassett 78. Yes, you finally made it to a live. What's going on? Keenan Ripon. Got a lot of folks in the live. Jacob Bartlett. What's good, brother? From Detroit. We got Tex Edwards in the house. I'm lurking. Pippi 420. Awesome. Yeah. So now, of course, going a little bit northward, we're all aware that Judge Juan Merchan has a conflict of interest in New York, right? Now, we've been made aware that his daughter received millions of dollars from very high positioned Democrats, top Democrats who ultimately want to put Donald Trump in jail. And this has been exposed. Donald Trump's Manhattan Stormy Daniels hush money trial judge is biased. I mean, in every sense of the word, for the most part, right? I mean, you got Representative Adam Schiff, you got House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and you even got New York Governor Kathy Hochul. They're all paying the judge's daughter. They're all not fans of Donald Trump. But then, of course, you got Ty Cobb. So Ty Cobb, he's a former White House attorney during Donald Trump's term, who's saying that Judge Cannon is biased for giving the former president so many wins in his Florida case. Now, it's not to say that Donald Trump didn't deserve the wins, but he's essentially just upset that Trump has gotten so many wins, justified or not. So anyway, take a listen to this quick snippet from Ty Cobb's interview on CNN.
I also want to ask you about the Mar-a-Lago documents case and going through some of the points there. So Judge Cannon blew up the schedule today, and she announced this new, I guess, sort of series of hearings or mega hearings. She's going to hear Trump's challenge to Jack Smith even being on this as a special counsel. She's going to hear Trump's request to throw out the evidence found at Mar-a-Lago, which obviously is the entire point. What is Judge Cannon doing here, Ty?
Judge Cannon is kicking the can down the road as only she can, and delaying both the trial, which is clearly It clearly her purpose, and when I say purpose, it is purposeful now. It's not mere ineptitude. This is clearly a palpable bias on her part, and I think I heard one former Florida judge say the same thing earlier today. Everybody's sort of caught on to her act now, but it also evidences her style. She wants to avoid at all costs making a decision that Jack Smith can appeal to the 11th Circuit, where the 11th Circuit, who has already reversed her twice and reprimanded her harshly, would have the opportunity to reconsider the potential for removing her from the case, which I predict, as you know, will happen, and she will not be the judge that ultimately tries
How
the case
soon, Ty,
whenever it gets to trial.
Yeah. Now, a lot of analysts, they have come out and basically said that Judge Cannon is basically just doing her job. But this Ty Cobb guy, who's obviously biased and is a yes man, he's a yes guy to CNN, who can just pretty much come on there and just not be deemed biased. But this really doesn't seem fair, does it? Right? Because if Judge Cannon was biased, then she would have just dismissed the entire case from the very beginning, right? So is Judge Cannon really biased? I mean, now these folks, so Judge Cannon, she wasn't handpicked. This was actually a random assignment. Now, it just so happens that Donald Trump happened to appoint Judge Cannon to her position. So some folks are like, Donald Trump put her in that role, so of course she's going to have his back. Not necessarily, but at the same time, Trump's been getting, these unfair trials in a lot of these New York courtrooms. And it's like, I don't know. Do you guys think that it balances out? Like, let's just say hypothetically, Judge Cannon is being biased. Let's give CNN the benefit of the doubt. Let's give this Ty Cobb guy the benefit of the doubt and just say, okay, let's just say hypothetically, Judge Cannon is slightly biased toward Donald Trump. Does it make it fair, since Donald Trump is clearly getting the short end of the stick in the New York courtrooms, with Judge Juan Merchan, and the Georgia courtroom with Fannie Willis and Judge Scott McAfee? Like, does it make it fair? Does it does it level the playing fields at all if Judge Cannon is being a little bit more biased toward Donald Trump? Which I really don't think so. I don't think she's biased toward Trump. I think it's just a fair trial. But does it make it a little bit more fair? I'm just curious what you guys think. But anyway, so this whole idea is that she's willing to hear both sides. Now, it's kind of like what a judge should be doing, right? A judge should literally be hearing both sides, which is unlike what we saw with Judge Juan Merchan. He didn't want to hear Donald Trump's attorneys. He didn't want to hear from their key witnesses. He didn't want to hear the testimony. He also didn't want to hear a lot of relevant evidence. So anyway, where we are now is that this is being seen by Jack Smith and the Democrats as kind of like an attack. Yeah, I know that her delaying this case is playing into what Donald Trump actually needs. Now, this is actually good for Trump. It is. But the Democrats are saying that, this is showing bias. Now, you guys make the call. Is it biased or what? Anyway, which now kind of brings up this possibility that Jack Smith could be fired and ultimately removed from this case altogether. So Donald Trump's defense team has requested to declare Jack Smith's appointment as special counsel as being invalid. And so what this does is this kind of lines up with a recent House Judiciary Committee hearing where Representative Jim Jordan, this dude, grilled the heck out of AG Garland as to why Jack Smith was chosen to be special counsel to begin with. And I feel like, is Jim Jordan the only guy in Congress doing his job? Like, he's the only one that's like grilling the opposition against Donald Trump and, putting pressure under the Fannie Willises of the world, the Attorney General Merrick Garlands of the world. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so Garland he was very vague with his answer and pretty much said that Jack Smith was nonpartisan and he's independent, right? Now, I got to ask you guys, is Jack Smith really nonpartisan and independent? In other words, is Jack Smith really out for the truth rather than being out for Donald Trump? What do y'all think about this? I'm not buying it personally. Quick shout out and thank you to Jacob Bartlett for the $10 super chat. Jacob says Dems only care about fair trials, air quotes, only when it suits them. And we're kind of like seeing this pattern here that Jacob's calling out here. It's only a fair trial when it benefits them. Now, do you guys remember Bill Clinton and was she an intern? The famous female that he had some interesting activities take place with back in the day. I don't remember Bill Clinton going through half the stuff that Donald Trump's going through right now. Jacob remembers. I'm Lurking remembers. I mean, she had a special talent, if I remember correctly. And, but again, and I think I want to say something. I want to say Bill Clinton spent like $850,000 stains on her blue dress. Wonder where those stains came from. Yeah. So I want to say Bill Clinton spent like $850,000 on like trying to quiet that whole situation, but there was no aftermath to that, like what Donald Trump's going through right now. Trump, I think, what was it, $130,000 check that he wrote to try to silence the whole Stormy Daniels story. That's like less than Clinton spent like 6 times more money on his Monica Lewinsky situation than look at Kel's comment. Everybody look at Kel. This was, Clinton spent like 6 times more money for that situation than Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump's situation was on the up and up, really. It was really just a bookkeeping. I wouldn't even call it an error. It's like a bookkeeping, what do you call that? I would say that's probably more like a bookkeeping. It's a gray area because it's like, look, it could be labeled as, a legal expense. It could be labeled as a legal fee. Whatever the case is, who freaking cares? It doesn't matter. Trump didn't even like try to use it as a tax deduction to reduce his taxable income. Like it's like guys, you guys are just like what they're doing here, guys, is a little bit it's just obvious. These are pointed. These are this is lawfare. This is a political attack on an individual at the end of the day. And none of these cases even came up before he had admitted to running for president for 2024, which is probably why he delayed it so long. If you guys remember, Trump delayed announcing that he's going to be running for the 2024 election for a long time. He wouldn't answer the question. And I think he was just trying to delay the onslaught of attacks that would inevitably come, which he's dealing with now. Anyway, a huge concern here is that basically Jack Smith is supposedly working. He was supposedly working in Europe when he got picked by Merrick Garland. And the attorney general was also very vague when he was asked if Jack Smith asked for this job. He couldn't even say yes or no at all. So anytime there's a simple question being asked to like a politician or an attorney and they just can't give you a yes or no, no matter what they say, means that they're hiding something, right? And now some Trump supporters, they're actually pushing Judge Cannon to remove Jack Smith from this case altogether. Now, the concept is pretty simple if you think about it, right? If Democrats can try and remove Donald Trump's name from the ballots, right? If they can try and disregard statute of limitations and basically go against the norm of the state's justice system, then it's perfectly fine for Judge Cannon to do the same and remove the special counsel who was appointed by Merrick Garland, right? And so this is only being discussed because the idea is that Trump is getting the short end of the stick with our justice system, and that the Democrats don't find it appealing to have the shoe on the other foot, right? Now, let's try to look at it from the other side. If Trump was president and Biden was trying to run for re-election, would it be any less fair? Would it be any less corrupt if Donald Trump was like the current president and they were putting Joe Biden through all of these different lawsuits that, having basically leveraging the justice system to attack Joe Biden? Like, I mean, it's bad no matter how you look at it. Democrats shouldn't be attacking Donald Trump, using the legal system against him. Trump shouldn't be let's just pretend Donald Trump was president. Trump shouldn't be using the legal system to attack Joe Biden. This is like destroying America. This is destroying democracy. So it's like we can't have this continue to go on year after year. This would just literally just ruin our whole system here. Anyway, but this literally just kind of like shows the hypocrisy that we're seeing almost every single day, guys. And this is something that Ty Cobb perfectly summed up as he discussed that Judge Cannon rejected Jack Smith's request to put a gag order on Donald Trump. Now, again, the gag order was supposed to protect the defendant, right? And then you got the New York Judge Juan Merchan, slapping Donald Trump with a gag order. The same guy who is running for president, he can't even defend himself in the middle of a presidential election. So, you want to talk about election interference. I mean, come on. Let's try to play fair here, guys. I mean, and this came after Donald Trump talked about the FBI being granted the right to use deadly force in the Mar-a-Lago raid, which is still mind-boggling that they would even have any sort of language like that to pick up some freaking papers that the government sent to Donald Trump to begin with. It's like, guys, these are papers that y'all sent. Come get them. Lethal force. And then what are you doing in Melania Trump's underwear drawer? You know what I mean? Like, you sniffing her drawers? Like, what is... So anyway, the FBI argued that, this is normal. This is all part of standard protocol. Although it seemed as if they were kind of like locked and loaded and ready for a shootout with the Secret Service. Because you gotta remember, they did have the EMS and paramedics like arrive with FBI. So it's like, why would you have the EMS and the paramedics show up with the FBI unless you're expecting something to go down, right? Donald Trump on his end, he said that the FBI raid was a plot to have him assassinated. Now, that's a scary thought, guys, right? Can you imagine that? I mean, that would be, I don't know if that would be as bad or worse than the JFK situation, right? Sick people, real sick people here. Now, there are those who are saying that this was all uncalled for, while others are claiming that this is perfectly logical to think that, given this position. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's logical for Donald Trump to think that this may have been their plot all along to take him out? I mean, I can understand, one party wanting to beat their political rival, their political opponent, but to take him out, like that's a whole nother level of concern. Anyway, so Ty Cobb, he goes out on CNN and he says that this is very dangerous for anybody who's in law enforcement, and that Donald Trump's words are false claims, and it's likely that somebody gets hurt. But this seems oddly familiar. Now, again, remember when Hillary Clinton said that Donald Trump wanted to kill his opposition? She says that Donald Trump is modeling himself after Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. And this is exactly what she said. She said that Trump wants to do a couple of things. Namely, he wants to kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance. So that's Hillary Clinton for you. Now, I got to ask you guys, does this remind you of Trump? Did Trump really say these things? Does Hillary have a point here, or is she just making all this stuff up about Trump? Or does anybody else who's been the president of the United States bear a closer resemblance to this idea? I'm not trying to, sway you guys. I'm wondering, what are you guys seeing on this one, right? But of course, Donald Trump, he's the bad guy. He always is, right? And this is why Judge Cannon is being painted as a bad judge, because unlike Arthur Engoron, the judge that was over the, Letitia James, $454 million lawsuit up in New York against Donald Trump, unlike Arthur Engoron, Scott McAfee, and Juan Merchan, Judge Cannon is not biased against Trump. And so this is why we're seeing a lot of these articles that try to discredit her, right? And they're saying basically she's inexperienced and inefficient and indecisive. But look at your boy, Jack Smith. Jack Smith really should not even be special counsel. And the only reason why we're seeing these write-ups released is because she's not going after Donald Trump, right? It's not like you're going to see CNN report about Judge Juan Merchan's daughter receiving money from the Democrats. In fact, think about it. They literally, CNN, MSNBC, a lot of these other, left-leaning news outlets. And I'm not saying everything that they say is a lie, but they certainly kept it under wraps that DA Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan are staunch Democrats. Think that might have anything to do with the direction of the trial and how the judge was basically coercing the jury to come to a decision of their choosing. And so this is where we kind of see like how lopsided our world has become. It's like not really fair. You know what I mean? Like, especially with mainstream media. But I need to know from you guys, like, do you guys actually believe that Judge Cannon is acting in a manner that's benefiting Donald Trump only? Or is she actually just trying to do her best to be impartial, play by the rules, and just be a good, honest, fair judge? Unlike the other judges that, Donald Trump has been facing. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what you think. But yeah, so this is the society that we're in, guys, that we're living in. It's wild, and it's going to keep getting wilder. And I've got so much more I'm going to be sharing with you guys. We're going to keep uncovering the truth together. If you haven't already, please do your boy a favor. Hit the like button for the video, subscribe, share this video with your friends, family, and other fellow truth seekers. Appreciate you guys rocking with me, and I'll catch you on the next one.